Terms and conditions.
What is motivation?
Legal notice.
Synopsis. What is the one vital component that everyone needs to do a good job? It is motivation. Motivation is what helps us to perform well at whatever we do. But, though everyone has some kind of idea about motivation, it means something different for each and every one of us. For some of us, motivation is simply a good work. For some, motivation is merely the realization or understanding that a particular work has to be done on time. For some others, the monetary returns or other incentives could be motivation enough to do a good job. It is because of the varied meanings of motivation that leaders find it somewhat difficult to extract an equal amount of work from everyone. It is because of the different implications of motivation that teachers and soccer coaches cannot make everyone perform in the same manner. Our motivation levels are different, and our motivators themselves are different too. If you are trying to bring out the best from your team, then you should first learn to be a great motivator. You have to think about your team, you have to think that they are contributing towards progress, in whatever way they can. A good word of motivation could them reach where they want to go. Motivation is for self as well. You have to keep yourself motivated to do various things. It could be any professional incentive, or a family objective, or a personal perk that might motivate you into doing something. Whatever it takes, you have to inculcate the value of inspiring other people within you. What is motivation? If one were to answer that in one word, it would be drive. The single most important factor that helps us achieve our goals is motivation or drive. It is an energy-rich interest in getting a job done and achieving the ends set. Motivation is the oomph in the effort that makes one person go the extra mile, while many others give up and retire without even trying. It does not matter in what situation you apply this. Motivation is the key that makes the difference between winning and losing. Motivation plays an important role in everybody's life, both in their personal life and also in their professional life. So what motivates us? Moreover, does the same factor motivate all and sundry? The answer to that is an emphatic no. Different people react to different stimuli. Even the same person will react differently to a given stimulus at different points of his or her life. The other thing to note is that motivation is self-propelling. Once you achieve a set of goals, you will be motivated to set another set of goals, possibly more difficult as if you are challenging yourself or raising the bar. Or, there could be periods of lull when you are down and need a recharge of your batteries to get going again. While motivation is generally considered for human beings, it is possible to also motivate an animal as well. Take the example of a dog. How do you teach it tricks? By rewarding it every time it fetches, begs or rolls over. What is this if not the very basic form of motivating? How does one motivate students to do well in an exam? This can be intrinsic or extrinsic. It is intrinsic if the students believe that they are capable of passing an exam and thereby put in the required efforts. Or, if they happen to be into the subject, that it is something of a passion and they are genuinely interested in accumulating more knowledge about the subject, then they are achieved to do a better job as well. It could also be extrinsic motivation, if they are doing it because they know that they will be rewarded with a prize that they value if they get good scores. A teenager could well be motivated to do well in his GRE or GMAT scores if he is keen to get away from family and live independently in some foreign university. There are different kinds of motivation, and it works differently for different people. What may motivate one person may mean nothing for another. For instance, for a movie lover, getting a free ticket for the latest James Cameron flick could be a great incentive. But that may mean nothing to a person who doesn't have any interest in movies. Motivation also changes with age. When we are younger, there are different things that motivate us. As we grow older, most of these things, such as new toys, do not mean anything to us. They cannot incite us to do any job in a better way. However, our childhood motivations are replaced by new, more refined ones. For a child, a Batman figure could be great motivation, but when he becomes a youth, maybe he wants a new bike. When he becomes an adult, maybe getting a new house is motivation. Or, Maybe he just wants the Batman figure still, but that's quite a different story. Motivation can be need-based. Man is motivated by the need to remove physical discomfort and increase physical pleasure. According to Maslow's theory of wants, humans have wants and desires that motivate and guide their behavior. These needs follow a typical hierarchy, with the basic ones being at the base of the triangle and then progressively getting more complex and sophisticated. People move up the triangle as their needs get settled. So, beginning with wanting to satisfy your hunger, thirst, sleep and sexual needs, you move up to looking after your safety and security. Only then are you motivated by love, friendship and relationships. After this comes the need for recognition and achievement, and it is followed lastly by the need for self-actualization. Chapter 2. How does motivating others help us? Synopsis. Whatever time and effort we spend in motivating others, it is always a great investment. This is something that you need to do in a consistent manner, and you should realize that motivating others isn't simply about making their day, it is about ensuring a good business for you as well. Motivating others holds benefits for the motivator more than the motivated. The motivated will be able to accomplish the job in a better way, but the motivator gets the benefit of the job done. Good motivation also ensures that the task is accomplished in a highly satisfactory manner, which is usually more important than the accomplishment of the task itself. In this chapter, we shall see how motivating others bode well for everyone. You will also read about the right way of motivating others, so that your motivation doesn't just fizzle out without purpose or doesn't seem like you are putting them on too much. How does motivating others help us? When we are speaking of motivation, we need to realize one very important thing. Motivating someone doesn't just help the motivated person to do better, it also helps other people who are associated with the person in some or the other way. For instance, if your spouse is motivated into starting a new business, and if that business starts bearing fruit, then the entire family is benefited. Here, just one person is motivated, but that motivation has helped a whole family. This can be extrapolated to larger scenarios. A motivated leader of a company could benefit the entire organization. A motivated president could benefit the entire country. A motivated freedom fighter could bring about a revolution for the betterment of society and the world at large. Hence, motivating others is important to you. Especially if you are in some position of power and you deal with people all the time, then it becomes important for you to keep your people inspired. Only when they are inspired will they feel that they can do a good job for you and for the entire society or organization that you are a part of. Motivating people in real terms. Motivating others is one of the chief challenges faced by leaders in the political and other arenas. Take the case of corporate leaders or chief executive officers. They are the people who head an organization and are in charge of its operations. They need to show results to their shareholders, results in terms of sales, profits and the social good achieved by their respective enterprises. But, the amount they can do by themselves is very limited. They therefore depend on their managers, subordinates and teams to get the job done and to meet the annual targets. Here is where the task of motivation comes in. Left to their own devices, most workers will just shy off. It is something of a joke in Kolkata, India, that the babis or clerks take a break from their continuous sessions of tea to do some work. So, one of the most vital tasks of the CEO is to motivate his team to deliver the desired results. If you want people to work together as a team to achieve results in a specific time frame, you need to use many ways to motivate them. Successful motivation requires a combination of structure and incentives. It also calls for communication, and communication. It is no longer just a carrot and stick approach. It requires special skills and cannot be done by any and everyone. See if you can motivate your dog to fetch his bone for you, and you will better appreciate how difficult it is to motivate humans. Motivation, a valuable skill. Motivating others is a skill that is always rewarded with sweet success. Thus, motivating others helps you achieve your own goals. It also gives you the satisfaction of having helped a fellow human being realize his own potential. Any CEO knows the value of this. People are the most valuable resource in any company. In addition, all people have some talent, which is usually hidden, lost under a pile of everyday routine. It is for the wise CEO to give all employees an environment in which their talents can bloom. Moreover, when this happens, the employee becomes self-motivated and you cannot stop him from achieving his goals even if you tried to. In the terrorist attack on the Taj Mahal Hotel Mumbai, in 2008, many employees laid down their lives in trying to help their clients out of the hotel safely. So remarkable is this that Harvard has actually commissioned a study to understand what motivated these employees to do so. A lot of the credit will go to the management, obviously. The achievement of results, the satisfaction of a job well done, the success of the enterprise, the altruistic rewards of helping your fellow men achieve self-actualization. These are some of the benefits you will derive out of motivating others. It will help you head a team of people who are happy because they are involved in an enterprise and all rowing in the same direction. It will help you become a better person. Chapter 3. What can you do to motivate people? Synopsis. Since motivation comes in all shapes and sizes, everyone does not get motivated in the same way. This has its difficulties. Imagine you are a teacher handling 20 students. These are all different students with different ethnic and economic backgrounds. They react to situations in different ways. They think differently. They offer different solutions to common problems. What can you do to motivate and inspire this motley crew of people? You have to look for the common thread that works for all. But, when you are managing a crowd of people, political leaders manage a whole nation full of people and even maintain good foreign relations, how do you make sure that your motivation does not fall flat on some of them? Motivating people is a highly difficult job, and in this chapter, you shall see that perhaps the best way to motivate people is to not go about it in an individualistic manner. If you try to give a carrot to each person individually, it might take a lot of time and effort as well. But, if you keep a bag of carrots for everyone to take from, it becomes easier. Even the people who do not like carrots will understand that you have given them something, and will feel good about it. There are obviously different approaches in motivating at a collective level as well. Sometimes, a highly charged speech of gratitude is all that would be needed. Sometimes, the incentives need to be more material in nature. In this chapter, you shall see what the best ways of motivating people are, on an individual basis and in a collective manner. You will learn that catering to the lowest common denominator always works. Try and find that one common element that everyone is looking for and use that as a motivational tool. What can you do to motivate people? The most common visual you conjure up when you think of motivation is the carrot and the stick. This means using either rewards or punishment to get the job done or to make some behavioral change. But, today, as we learn more and more about people and human behavior, we know that the task is far more complex than that. There are several things that you can do and others that are a complete no. Let us start with the latter. You should never threaten a person with dire consequences in order to get something done. Nothing is more guaranteed to get their backs up and to achieve the exact opposite results. Here are quite a few positive and useful tips on how to motivate people. The emotion factor. Appeal to their love for acquiring things by providing concrete rewards, be they in the form of cash, kind or recognition. Let them know in advance if you are going to reward performance and make it amply clear what it is that is expected out of them. Then, when they deliver the results, make sure you keep your word, reward them as per your promise. Dole out the right incentives. Performance incentives are a very powerful tool, and if you treat your employees fairly, they will go the extra mile for you. Make sure that your program is well structured, well communicated and well understood throughout the company. Make the goals achievable and divide into short-term, low-hanging grapes, and long-term, annual harvest goals. Discuss the goals and involve the employees in the goal-setting exercise. That way you ensure buy-in and the employees understand their stake in accomplishing the tasks that will help them reach the agreed goals. Lend them an ear, always. Always listen to your people and treat them with respect and kindness. Being arrogant and listening only to your own voice is as good as being blind and deaf. Be fair but firm. Deadlines need to be respected, and a laissez-faire attitude will not do. Most importantly, reward them for working in teams. 1 + 1 literally means 3, maybe even 4, in the context of the corporate world, as it is through interaction and sharing of knowledge that you arrive at the best and most innovative ideas and efforts. People also enjoy working with other people, and when positive energy flows, it multiplies as the load is shared and work becomes fun. Feed them back. Offer fair feedback without aiming to curtail their creativity. You need to be very sensitive when doing this, or you could easily demotivate. Always, but always recognize achievement, preferably in public. Give people space to produce results. Give them the tools and the resources and support them in their endeavors in every way you can. All these are factors that will motivate them to give you back in kind. Best communication at all times. Ultimately, always keep the channels of communication open. This will enable you to learn of potential problems at an early stage and to fix them before the problem gets out of hand. Chapter 4. Motivating the most obstinate people in your group. Is it possible? Synopsis. You are going to have these stumbling blocks often. Most often, the obstacles don't come from things or situations, they arise from the people you are handling. When I was hiring people for my new business a few years ago, a friend told me that the best thing I could do to ensure my business ran smoothly was not to employ people at all. That might be possible a few years down the line, with the internet taking over completely, but right now, we do need people to work with. Even though we are working online, we are dealing with people. So, it is not really possible right now to eliminate the human factor from our dealings completely. The fact is that we need people, and that these people would be a great asset for us only if we are able to motivate them. These people should be supercharged so that they can work for themselves and for the group itself. But, how do you handle the very negative trait of obstinacy? You are going to come across it a lot. Obstinacy happens when people have a radically different opinion and are staunchly stuck on it. For all that it takes, obstinacy needs to be stemmed out. It needs to be removed so that the way to progress is etched out more profoundly. In this chapter, we shall deal with the various ways in which you can not only snuff out obstinacy within your team, but you can also motivate these people to do a great job for the team. You can turn obstinacy around, whether it is in your friend or son or your business team. It is possible to motivate and encourage these people so that they work in a more positive manner and become an asset for the team or group that they are working with. Motivating the most obstinate people in your group. Is it possible? Obstinacy is generally a sign of inflexibility and ignorance. But when you come against it, particularly as part of a team that you are heading, you could well end up wanting to bang your head against a brick wall. There is a story that goes something like this. Ralph Waldo Emerson and his son Edward were trying to persuade a calf into the barn. However, pushing and shoving was not yielding the desired results. The son clung to the neck and Ralph pushed from behind, but with no results. The calf stuck to her ground. An Irish peasant who was passing offered to help. Going to the front of the calf, she stuck her finger into its mouth, and the calf quietly and without a demur followed her into the barn. What is the moral of the story? Most people are like the calf. If you get after them against their will and prod and push them to act according to your agenda, you will only succeed in getting them to dig their heels in, and they will not budge an inch. However, if you provide them with some form of motivation, perhaps by helping they understand why you want them to act in a particular fashion and what is in it for them, then chances are you will get them moving. Good executives or leaders get their work done and their ends achieved by motivating their employees to give their best both individually as well as a team. They are willing to ignore individual weaknesses and to concentrate on using their people's best strengths. They are concerned more with what they can do rather than what they cannot. They understand that to get the most out of them, they will need to motivate them. President Lincoln understood the importance of motivation. When he was told that General Ulysses S. Grant had a drinking problem, he responded, "If I knew his brand, I'd send a barrel to all the other generals also. Motivation has to come from inside. So as a leader you need to know what all is going on inside the obstinate individual, what are his likes and dislikes, more important his fears and his phobias. Once you know which buttons to push, the rest becomes much easier. Some people respond to money, others to recognition. Ask any crooked businessperson how to motivate a powerful politician and he will give you the right answers. You need to attack on several fronts: economic, emotional, recognition, self-expression, self-respect and self-fulfillment. Check where your recalcitrant team member stands on all these issues. Identify the things that will mean the most to them and then make a plan that will provide them a solution that best meets these needs. Like Mary's little lamb, they will be ready to follow you for the rest of your life. The best way to motivate even the most obstinate person is to see how best you can help them to succeed and achieve their own personal goals. Chapter 5. Motivating Secret 1. Precise Communication. Synopsis. With this chapter, we start our discussion on specific strategies by which you can improve your motivation skills and get your team to perform to their best level. One of the most important things you would need to motivate people is precise communication. Whether you are trying to motivate your friend or your corporate business team, they would like to know what the objectives are and what they would need to do in order to achieve them. They would like to know what is expected of them. This is a very important aspect of the entire motivation game. It is only when people know what the exact objectives are, can they accomplish their task to their best. Here we shall see the importance of communication as a motivating factor, and we shall see what